The views expressed on the Nova Society are those of the panelists and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Phoenix Research Institute or any institution which any panel member is associated.
I'd like to welcome everyone back to the Nova Society. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, and I'm here with my panel, Dr. Scott Gershwer and Dr. Mark Bount. Today we will be answering listener emails, and for the next few episodes, we will be answering questions about American reaction to some of Trump's proposed policies. We have a question from Robin, who lives in San Francisco, California. And Robin asks, Trump is threatening to charge Apple a 25% tariff on all iPhones made in countries other than the US. Apple CEO Tim Cook says the company will continue to make the phones overseas. iPhones are already expensive, but they are popular here in the US. If Trump does what he says he will do, what might be the American response to this increase in price? And that is an excellent question, Robin. Mark, Scott?
So I'll say this. I think that this is the plan. I think that, again, there's a plot out there to turn America into a rentier state, and that the natural resource or the national resource that they plan to exploit is the American consumer. That American consumers, myself included, because I need a new iPhone. My battery is dying to the point where if it's not plugged in all the time, unplug it for 15 minutes, it's like half battery, and then another like 10 minutes after that, it's almost gone altogether, and I have to plug it back in. I need a new one. And
what model is it, Scott? Is that like an iPhone 5?
It's a flip phone. It flips. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I think it's a 12. But you know what? I was told that this is the last of the small ones, and I hate the big ones. I really do. I love the size of this one. I slip it into my pocket. It calls people all the time without me knowing about it, which is really great. And I have a great sentimental attachment to this, but I think I've had it for more than 5 years now, and it's probably time for it to go. Anyhow, Americans will gripe about prices, but they will not stop buying. We will gripe about prices. And that means that these tariffs, which are paid by American consumers, can become a source of revenue for the government. It was the source of revenue for the government before income taxes. And it was incredibly corrupt, which is right up Trump's alley. And the importers paid it, passed the pain on to consumers, exactly, which is what is going to happen. A tariff is like a VAT, a very, very regressive tax. But again, that's right up Trump's alley. He believes that rich people should get all the breaks and poor people deserve what they get. And I think that this is part of that plan. And, I don't think it's a plan of Trump's creation. I think Curtis Yarvin and other people who are even more demented than he is, but can think and string together like 3 or 4 sentences at a time without veering off, are the ones who came up with this plan, and that he's simply the instrument with which they are carrying it out.
Yes. All right. So I'm even going to do some full disclosure here. I have an iPhone 16. It's only because we switched about 2 years ago to Samsung, the flips. We thought they were the coolest phone in the world. And within 2 years, none of the screens worked. So we went back to the iPhone. And the iPhone that I had previous to this was an iPhone 7. And when I got off the plane in LaGuardia, my wife says, "What's that smell?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know." And my pants were caught fire because my iPhone 7 had caught fire in my pants pocket. So... yeah, that's why I was asking.
If you were still on the plane, you could have done time in Guantanamo Bay for that.
Could have done time somewhere. Yeah, I mean, whatever. So I have a love-hate relationship with iPhone. I truly do miss my old BlackBerry. I wish they'd bring that back. But yeah, you're right. iPhones are stupidly expensive. I mean, I could buy a computer less than I could buy an iPhone if I wanted to buy it outright. And these carriers give you such deals, but they kind of lock you in. They do lock you into these deals for like 3, 4, 5 years or whatever they lock you into. And iPhones are very popular. I mean, we can't deny it. It's an extremely popular device. And when the price goes up, like Scott says, we'll pay for it because we've got to have our shiny little toy. I can still to this day not figure out, and I know people who are like this. I can't see, now again, I said I have an iPhone 16. I have seen an iPhone 15. I can't see the difference. I have no idea what the bloody difference is between the two. And then I just have the regular old iPhone 16. And then there's a thing called the iPhone 16 Pro, which mine has two cameras. It has three cameras. Now I don't know what the heck I'm going to be taking a picture with three cameras, but hey, there you have it. Somebody obviously needs the extra camera. I was reading an article when I got this email. I read this article, and there was an article on CNN about why Apple will never, ever build their iPhones here in the United States because it would make it even more expensive than if you just added the 25% tariff. And this is, again, let's go back. You can complain about Joe Biden all you like, but the CHIPS plan to be able to have us making our own chips, returning that industry back to us, would have really given us the infrastructure. And I honestly don't know if we have the infrastructure in the United States to truly build the thing. Whenever we see something that says, made in the USA, what they should say is assembled in the USA. Very few products that we see here are made completely 100% made in the United States, or the components are 100% in the United States. I can't think of very many that's a true case. It all comes from somewhere else. That is why these tariffs are so devastating, because it's not the whole product you have to look at. It's all the little parts that go into a product. Take a look at an automobile. The hundreds of parts that go into an automobile, they're not all made here. Oh, and of those hundreds of parts, they have hundreds of components, be they mechanical components, electrical components, whatever you might want to be talking about. They don't all come from here. So this crazy idea that we can be totally self-sufficient, even if the CHIPS Act was allowed to continue, and we did get back some of our infrastructure for making chips, that does not make us independent. We're still going to have to get stuff from other places, because for all the abundant resources the United States has, we simply do not have all of it that is necessary for everything. And I know this is off the topic of the iPhone, but it kind of goes with it. If you don't have the infrastructure to make the chips, and iPhones are they're pretty doggone savvy as far as technology is concerned. You can demand it all you want. And the fact is that we can't do it. Now, if Trump was to say, listen, I'm going to talk to Tim Cook, and we're going to figure out how we can actually do this. How can we do this without just trying to? I know Obama tried to get whoever was Steve Jobs to make more iPhones here in the United States back in the early 2000s. He tried to do that, but the fact is that Jobs' comment was you don't have the infrastructure, and that's fine. And if Trump wants to figure out a way to get the infrastructure and work with Apple. Apple's a pretty powerful company with a lot of doggone money, and there's a lot of other companies that would love to get on board in that kind of collaboration. This is an opportunity. Don't threaten them. Well, I'm going to tariff you if you don't. That's like I always told people when I was working in industry. Don't walk into my office and tell me what the problem is unless you have a solution. Basically, Trump is saying, do this with no solution on how the government or how to get that collaboration. The government could be a wonderful entity to bring these groups together, to get them to cooperate and get them to, work together to kind of get toward what the idea of this is. It's a missed opportunity. It's an absolute missed opportunity. It's like we were talking, it was probably 2 years ago. The lieutenant governor of South Carolina came down and spoke to the Rotary Club here in Spartanburg, and almost every member of the Rotary Club hates green energy, hates it, until the lieutenant governor came up and said, yeah, South Carolina's got $26 billion in grants from the government for green energy. It has started X number of jobs. It has done this in South Carolina. Oh, they're all standing up cheering for it. Oh, okay. But then when she walked out the door, oh, we hate green energy. I mean, God. I mean, it's an opportunity. And businessmen used to look at things as opportunities. Green energy, hey, that's an opportunity. Just like the combustion engine was back in the early 20th century. They looked at it as an opportunity, and we don't do that anymore. And that's the shame. So iPhones, yeah, it's going to go. Yeah, it's probably going to go up. Yeah, probably. Because they're going to build them in India, and they're going to build them every other place that they build them. And that's all there is to it. But there is an opportunity here, and I'm afraid that we're going to miss it, as always.
So, do you know how much paid for your phone? It was like 1,500 or something like that. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, we changed carriers. We left the evil Empire carrier that we had, and we moved over to a new carrier, which also had internet, and which is better. So I believe the phones were like $13.99 or something like that.
Right. Okay. So let's say they were 3,500. Which is I think what I paid for my first car. Would you buy one?
Not that thing you had that I saw the picture of, was it? What was it?
Well, it was a 1980 Mazda RX-7. How about that for a young fella, 22 years old, used. It had been in some kind of horrific accident because there was still broken glass all over it. But I love that car. I actually, the tailpipe fell off on the Triborough Bridge, and I actually pulled over to the side, climbed underneath it with cars zipping by me in the middle of the night, took off my sock and tied the tailpipe to something on the bottom of the car to hold it together until I could get off the bridge and take it to a mechanic.
The miracle of that story is you survived that.
Yeah, I lived through it, and I believe the sock held for several weeks before I finally remembered that I had to get it replaced. But I did love that car. But it was about $3,500. Used, had been in a fire and an accident and all kinds of stuff like that.
Now you see, mine was a 1968 Malibu Classic.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just think of if I still had that car, it'd be worth. And the second one was a 1971 Pontiac Catalina convertible. You could be in 6 states at one time in that car. It was so doggone long. But anyway.
Yeah. But these phones are incredible pieces of technology. I mean, they landed on the moon with less than I carry in my pocket all the time, calling my friends, wildly without even knowing about it. And, I get text messages. You called me about 5 times today, while I'm just walking around. But yeah, it's a cool thing. But I don't know.
So it's probably a bad idea to threaten. But that's what this administration does. And it is what it is.
Yeah. Tim Cook just needs to say, you know what? We're announcing plans that we're going to start assembling iPhones in the U.S. within the next 3 years, and that'll give Trump the victory he needs. They never have to actually follow through with it because hopefully he'll be out of office by then, and they could just move on from there. That's probably how that'll be solved.
Well, I know that Tim Cook was saying he was going to start assembling iPhones in India, but China wasn't happy that Cook wanted to move production out of China, and the Chinese were putting up some sort of obstacle to having that happen. Do you know anything about that? So the iPhone may not even be able to move production to India in the first place, much less to the United States. And yeah, it would be cheaper to pay 25% tariff more. That was like $300 or something more than it would be to manufacture here. Plus, by the time the infrastructure and everything else is built, that's going to be 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. I have no idea.
No.
It's not worth it.
No.
No.
And let's face it, Trump's attitude, Trump's answer to all this to the MAGA faithful was to send out a tweet to all industry and say, suck it up and eat the tariffs. Like the companies are going to do that. Yeah, that's
Or that
that
it's appropriate.
That shows
for,
really poor business acumen right there.
Yeah. I mean, it's very un-American as well.
Yes. So I think that's it, Brooke.
Yeah, well, and of course, I thought that the tariffs were supposed to make money for the American people. And if businesses are supposed to absorb the tariffs, then the tariffs are not going to make money for the American people. And so somebody other than the country being charged the tariff or is or against whom the tariff is levied is going to be paying it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's be clear. Countries don't pay tariffs. Importers pay tariffs. Okay.
Yes, and
people who
they're
import,
going to exactly. So what Trump has said the entire time is untrue. The American public is going to pay the tariff.
Shocking.
Obviously.
Shocking. Yeah. Hey,
yeah, I know.
And that's an admission of that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
He's saying, you eat the tariffs. That means that you're paying the tariffs, not China. And he continues to go out there and say, we brought in billions of dollars from China.
Yeah, right.
You did not. You brought in billions of dollars from American companies who were paying those tariffs.
Exactly. So where does all that money go? I mean, what are you going to return it to the consumer? I mean, that's not going to happen.
Well, the big idea in the campaign was to do away with the income tax.
Yeah.
To have tariffs pay for everything. And then Trump would be the one deciding who gets what, because, you would have to go to him and say, I need, X amount of dollars to live on. And you would basically turn the United States into Venezuela, or I imagine Russia. Most people would be living on subsistence wages provided by the government on the dole, socialist. Rentier, of course, because the rent seekers would be there going, I need more money than most people, and get it if they did the things that the administration wanted them to do. And that's the game right there. That's what he was promising people that he would do. And the tax cuts are a big part of it. And the tariffs are a big part of it. Do away, losing Medicare altogether as an expense. And then, you give people a certain amount of money to pay for their medical expenses. I mean, even just the other day, they came out with something, I think it was in this bill, that says that every child born gets $1,000, and that $1,000 is put in the bank for them and managed by the government, no doubt Trump Inc., and they can use it when they're older for medical expenses or education expenses, whatever they want to use it for. But that's the deal that newborn babies get. That's something that is actually on the table right now in the bill that the Senate is now looking at.
And yet people, Trump will talk about how the Democrats are socialists and communists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's just unbelievable.
Yes, it is.
It really is. It really, really is. Mark, do you have anything to add?
I'm good.
He's on his phone. He loves it.
Alrighty. Robin, thank you for the question. Unfortunately, and it's not just Apple. Trump was talking about Samsung and anybody else who makes this type of device, that they'll all be targeted for tariffs. So, yep. The American consumer is going to be hit with more costs. So thank you for your question. Thank you for spending some of your time with us on the Nova Society. We appreciate your listening and having your support through listening. And we hope to see you again next time. Take care.
The Nova Society is a production of Nova Society Media, a division of the Phoenix Research Institute. We'd like to thank our production partners, Buzzsprout, who hosts the Nova Society, Audacity, our editing partners, Apple iTunes, the largest source of podcasts and music on the internet, Spotify, the most popular platform for the Nova Society, and iHeartRadio. your source for all things music and podcasting. The Nova Society is available on all of these and other quality platforms listed in our description. We'd also like to thank all of our listeners. Without your support, the Nova Society would not be possible. If you have a question or comment, we can be reached at nova.society.podcast@gmail.com. So for Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, Dr. Scott Gershwer, and all of our production partners here at the Nova Society, I'm Dr. Mark Bound. Remember, the true power in society is knowledge. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next time. We'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, the Phoenix Research Group, an independent research consortium offering social-political issue solutions to NGOs and international government agencies through multidisciplinary, nonpartisan, and unbiased research. The Phoenix Research Group is a division of the Phoenix Research Institute, the producer of the Nova Society podcast.